So I'm going to go over going from Mixamo animations and retargeting it to a rig in Houdini. The issue I have with, because I'm trying to, Mixamo does not have a root bone. So I want to add a root bone to this whole animation. So I'm not going to go over the skeleton creation. I'm not going to go over any of that, but I will show you my network. And I'm using Houdini 20.5.584. And at the moment, my stow bars are all put away. So if you hit Alt Control S, it hides them all because I'm used to working on a laptop, so I need maximum amount of space as possible. But let me go over the rig I had right here. So this is the rig I made with the skeleton right here. And the Mixamo rig, this is exactly like the Mixamo rig, except I added a root bone down here. And so if we want to see the names of these, I believe it's, thought I had the names selected, but I guess not. Let's see if I can just add a visualizer. What is it, a marker? And then it's a name, I believe. Yep, there we go, name. Okay, I'll just give it like an orange color right here so you can see what's going on. Okay, so here's my visualizer right now. And as you can see, everything's similar to, this is just how I have the naming convention for me. _L. And I'll just go over, so I created the spine here, and I took the existing Mixamo rig and all I did was add a root bone and just copied where the bone positions are on my own skeleton because I'm going to be adding some more stuff to it later. Otherwise I would just use that skeleton and add to it. And then I just oriented the joints here. Let me just get more space. Then we got our right arm here, shoulder, arm, forearm, hand arm. Orient the joints, yeah, mirror the skeleton, yeah, RL. Select this. If you select this and just push R on the keyboard, it'll highlight that one for you. Same thing, orient, skeleton, you can see it here, just like that. And same with the right leg, everything's orient, skeleton, okay. And then all I did was parent the joints to the proper joint. So you see the shoulder goes to the spine too, similar to Mixamo, but now I just added a root. This right here, what I did here was I needed to select the different bones on here. So let me see if I can get rid of this, and there we go. So I added some tags in here essentially. And what they're doing is, so when I create my rig later on, it has everything there. For us, it's easier to pick with the controls, and I don't have to find anything else. So I just group it. I packed it all together. So I got a base, skeleton, guide, skeleton, base, and that's the shape of the object. And I split the parent joints from skeleton and guides. And this is the order right here, as you can see. And originally the first one in there is this. This is 0, and then 1. Input, skeleton, guides, and then the stash, the stash is just the weighting right here. And I had to do a little bit of adjustment because sometimes it doesn't get the proper weighting, and this will go when I move the hip, it'll stay behind. So I just had to re-weight a bit. And then just to go through it real quick, here's some initializing the rig. The FK transform, right? Then I went to the bone deform, set up controls, local, global, and then my cog. So as you can see, is there names for those? No, I thought there was names. Anyways, so we have the different controls right here. Let me see. So it's global. This is local, and this is cog. Oh, now it highlights the names. Okay. Created my spine controls. So there's the local right here, just so you can see what's driving what. I'll just pass through it. That's not supposed to be it. That's supposed to be just root. Well, that did not work out the way I wanted it to. So I'm gonna have to go check that in a second. Why is it like that? Maybe it's just supposed to be like that. This is for, that was for something else. And the spine controls. Alright, I'll go back here for you guys. So what it's doing, yeah, right there. And then just, you know, different shapes, box wires, what we want. Okay, so then we go to the spine controls, and as you can see, the tag, right, spine, that I set up here with the attribute adjust array. So it picks that up, so I don't have to select anything, it just picks it up, spine root, spine tip. Got the settings, so I can move everything. That was just a test. Then I kept the arms separate because I was getting some sort of twist. Then L, then the legs, right here, so you know, basic settings. Okay, same with the left arm, same thing, as you can see, tags. Okay, what was this again? This was the reverse foot rig. You know, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I think this was a mirror issue. I'll figure that out in a second, but this does not affect our mocap that we're doing. So we got IK, FK blend. Of course, you know, that's for the arms and the legs. You know, here they are here, the blends. Delta mush. I have that for deformations. I changed my control shapes a little bit just to make it a little bit easier for me when I was going, and then just changing the control colors. Right red, green is left. Colors I use, I don't know, I think when I was using Lightwave years ago, it's just something I got used to. Then if we want to animate it here, that's fine. Now, so this is what I use to export it, so I can bring it over to the retargeting, and it's just, I unpack the shape, I unpack the skeleton. Here, I gave the shape a name, called it my geo, you know, skin geo, rest skeleton. Here's my settings, of course it goes to my project, my hip file, everything's just standard right here, because it's going to be going into Godot later. Then I hit save the disk, and then I bring it up in my retarget. So this is my retarget setup. Here I'm bringing in my character, right? This is the rig that you'll retarget to. Your animation goes here. This is where I had it. And then my A or T pose actually goes here. Let me change the color on that. I don't know how that got changed. You're going to see two networks. This is just for something I use for preview, and this is what I actually export out to the game engine. So let me go get some more space here. There we go. Okay. So when I bring in the character, it's just the normal T-pose, the one that we just messed with. And let me just show you, this is what the final looks like right now. Okay. Of course, there's probably some cleanup that needs to happen. I bring in the T-pose. This is the original, this is the T-pose with the root on it. Okay, so this is basically the one that I had over here, but it's just the one with the root. Okay, and I call them different as well. And then we have the Mixamo animation. And so I brought in the Mixamo animation. I smoothed it out using a motion clip, right? Right here with smooth motion. And I set the cutoff frequency to 10 because of course it's mocap and I don't know how clean it is. And you can adjust this based on your preferences. Then I stash it in here. Now, when this initially comes in, you can see he's running, right? He's in the running pose. What I did with the stash pose is you can select these, and what I did was, for this, I moved it as best I could into the T pose, right? Wait, was it this one? No, not the rig stash. The stash pose, sorry, let me clear this. The stash pose, what that does is, if your running animation doesn't have a T pose, right? So that's why we plug our T pose or A pose into here. The rig match pose, sorry about that. This is the one you adjust because this is your running animation. And what all I did, as you can see, it's the blue one, right? There we go. Here's the blue right here, the running. I took that and I match it as closely as I can to the T-pose rig. Because if not, your animation is not going to mocap correctly. Yeah, and I set the pivot to the bounds. And then I map the points here. So it's basically just dragging here to here or here to here. It doesn't matter the order you're doing it as long as they match up. And I did a scale to fit because I want the running animation to fit my T-pose rig. I don't want to change the shape of my rig that I'm retargeting to. And so this is all I did. Right? It's just, you just drag. That's it. It's a little process. Okay, so now we got the full body IK. I pinned the root because I don't want the root going anywhere. Right? This is for later on. Now here's the interesting part. If I don't have this, and this is running, you're going to see something a little bit different. He's running off the ground. So what did I have to do? I had to, well, let me disable this. I had to add a rig pose in here, and I had to actually adjust the position. And so when I put it back to that there, I adjust the position a bit of it, and I just adjusted the hips. So it's down on the ground and not pushed down. And then we'll see, and then here we go. And then now I got it attached with a root bone. And then you just, this one is the FBX character output going here. And I use the existing weights that I set up in from the character itself. Which I believe is, if you hit U, you can go up. And then I'll just select this and hit I on the keyboard. Did I weight it here? Yes, I weighted it here. So I weighted it actually here. So I'll hit U back on the keyboard, select this, hit I. And you could also double click it to go into it. And then we got the character output, and then all I did was just, I output it into meters because I'm going to the game engine. If you do it centimeters, it's just way too small. So that's the only thing I changed the frame range, and then save the disk. And so that's it. So I'll show you here. I'll just do another one. Let me just save it right here. Let me do, I think this is idle, right? Yeah, this is idle. So it's the same thing. If I take this and I just adjust my rig match, whoa, it's pretty good. So you'll see everything down here, right? So what we're changing is not the destination geometry, we're changing the source geometry. So if I hit clear right here, same thing, we want to, and there we go. So just selecting this, that means it's got to be in that general area. For me, it's fine, just the general area. So one thing I do miss is using the arrow keys to walk up and down the joints. That's okay. But they've come a long way in all their animation tools Houdini has. It's been great. Getting a little, why are we there? Sometimes we go to labs, reset viewport. Huh? Alright, I have no idea why it's like that, but cool, it's sticking. Okay, we'll get this here and we'll see how it looks. Well, that's a bit off. And there we go. You can fast forward the video if you want, if you don't want to watch me just trying to put it, I'm just gonna generally put it into place. I'm not gonna get it completely there, but just show you this is kind of how close you kind of have to get it to do things. And let's see here. We'll just go here. I'm just not worried about the hands too much right now. Something I'll fix later. But yeah. Alright, there we go. Alright, let me just fix this to speed up this video. Hands. Okay. So it's about in place. Points are still the same because it's still the same rig. Let me see. Do I need to put it down at all? No, it looks like it's there. So if I hit play now, yeah, still kind of look the. I think the animation's actually longer on this one. Let's just see what 80 gets us for. I have no idea how long this animation is actually. Let's see. Pretty long animation. Okay. Now we're just gonna go big. Could look it up, but I think I'm good. 300. Okay. There we go. Okay. So let's see how that looks. Select the flag here, and let's go. Yeah. So now it's back on my rig. So we just retargeted the rig. Alright, so did a couple of things. This is just my setup. I'm sure there's probably 100 other ways to do this. I hope this helps. Any questions, just put in the comments. Alright.